G'day guys and welcome to Primal Waters. Today's video is about my experience cage diving with great white sharks. Now, I've been wanting to do this for pretty much all my life. This is something that I've always dreamt of doing, but I've always put off. I had it planned 2 years ago to do this, but just because of COVID and other stuff like that, it just got postponed. So last Thursday, I finally got the chance to cage dive and see these sharks up close, and it was totally amazing. Now, a week prior to that, I just made the decision to book the tickets, book the accommodation, and just go. I was a little bit worried about the weather and if any sharks were going to turn up, but it turned out to be a absolutely amazing day. It was a little bit rough in the cage at first. I was thrown around a little bit in the cage until I got my bearings, and I had an absolutely amazing time in there. There was a few little issues, but I wasn't going to give it up. I wanted to see these sharks up close, and I got the opportunity. Now, Neptune Island is the island we go to. It's about 3.5 hours south of Port Lincoln. There's two islands. There's North Neptune and South Neptune. We pulled up to North Neptune, and we anchored up there. And I reckon it took about maybe 10 to 15 minutes before the first shark arrived. It was really to actually gauge the size of the sharks at first was really hard to pick, because it was like the sharks actually stayed a little bit lower down in the water. So it wasn't until the second shark rocked up, which was a 4.5 meter great white shark. You actually gauge the size of these sharks, which was pretty cool. It blew me away actually to see this shark cruise past the boat. It's really deceptive, the camera footage, because it doesn't really give you how big these sharks are. Now, this is a pretty cool experience to see this shark attack the bait. Just gliding past. That was absolutely amazing to see this. I was in the third group to go into the cage. So at this stage, I think the sharks were still a little bit shy to come close to the cage. The Rodney Fox expedition was actually out there as well. So my feeling is that some sharks were going to their cage and then coming over to us. It wasn't until probably group 5 and 6 they got to see a lot more of the sharks. That's when the other boat took off. So, but just to see them was pretty amazing. I think a few times that I was just like looking around, looking just everywhere, just to make sure I could spot them. And I'll be looking in one direction, then suddenly I'll turn to the right, and bang, the shark would be there. So really amazing. So there was 3 sharks. Two of them you couldn't really tell the difference. I have to go back into the video later and just look at the markings and just see. But there was one shark called Imax. He's the one with the deformed tail. So we got the shark just cruising back there. Now, Imax has been spotted visiting Neptune Island since 2008. He got his name from a underwater film crew. He was named by leading underwater IMAX film producers, Howard and Michelle. They gave him the nickname of IMAX. So he apparently features a lot in that IMAX documentary called Under the Sea. So if you ever seen that, and we'll have a look to see. I've got him. Yeah, so this one's IMAX. You can see his tail's deformed. So I don't think this is an injury. I reckon this is something that he was born with. Yep, hello. You can just see the deformity in his tail there. So obviously it hasn't affected him at all. He looks like a healthy male. So I think they were saying he's roughly between 4 and 4.5 meters in length, and he's been spotted since 2008. Just recently, they were saying that he hadn't been seen for a while, and then suddenly he's started to return Last time I seen him was a week ago, Thursday a week ago. So it's amazing to hear them talk about he rocks up on a Thursday. They don't see him for a week, and then he rocks up on a Thursday again. So just have a look at him just glide there. Now the cage itself, you can actually fit 8 people in there. Some groups had a little bit smaller groups. I would have preferred that because, just trying to get a good position to so you can see the sharks. The reason I chose the left-hand side, I noticed when they were chucking the baits into the water, the baits were floating out to the left side of the cage. So I thought that'd be the best side, which is pretty cool. So there's a nice, that bit there, I actually lost my grip. I'm telling you, it was quite rough in there. The cage is attached to the rear of the boat. So as the boat's rocking and stuff like that, the cages as well. So you kind of, you have to try and, you can actually, there's a thing on the bottom of the cage, you can actually put your feet under just to hold you in position. You do wear weights to hold you down. But it was a totally amazing experience. Now, Neptune Island is a protective area, conservation park, so no one's allowed to fish in that area. You got to have certain licenses. Obviously, these cage diving companies have to have a license. The other license is held by Rodney Fox Expeditions, and in South Australia, well, actually, Neptune Island is the only place in Australia where you can actually cage dive with great whites, and the only license. There's only 2 licenses in Australia. They can do it. Can do this. So it's quite good actually. Just how they just glide there. So you spend the operators talk about how long you can actually spend in the cage. They don't determine, you don't get 20 minutes, 40 minutes. It just determines on how much of the sharks you see. So you could absolutely have full-on sharks in front of you, and you probably get 30 minutes in the cage. Or if you don't really see too many sharks, they tend to leave you in the cage a bit longer, so you can get to see a little bit more of the sharks. So, which is good. Now on the tour itself, there was 44 of us on the boat, so there was quite a lot of us. But the boat's big enough. It was a lot of room. You can sit up top, or you can sit down in the cabin, or you can sit out in the rear part of the boat itself. They supply you breakfast, lunch, and snacks throughout the day. You can hire GoPros off them. A lot of people are hiring GoPros, and also the crew themselves, they take pictures and stuff through the day, and you can buy a little of a entertainment package at the end of it and stuff. I was lucky enough because I brought my own GoPro. That's the reason why I brought this, was for this. Brought this up. This is a Hero 7. When I look at some of the footage, I think it looks not too bad, but I didn't use the 4K. Like, this does have 4K, but I didn't choose to do it because it just uses too much space up. So I just have the standard HD in it, but I still feel on the computer itself it came out really well. Just have a look at that, that's so cool. Just pause that there. So yeah, you can either hire it if you don't have your own gear, but that's the reason I picked up a GoPro, because I wanted to capture my own footage of the great whites, and I would have loved to have more footage, and there was a opportunity at the end of the day to actually get back into the cage without wetsuits, but I didn't take that up, and I kind of regret that at the moment, because I think at that time, since the Rodney Fox ship boat moved off and there were more you know, the sharks were hanging around a bit more at the back of our boat, that I missed out on opportunities to get a bit more cool footage of the great whites. But that's all right, because I'm planning to do quite a few more of these in the future. Another really cool thing I did get to see that I never caught it on video was when one of the great whites literally breached. It was absolutely out of the water. It was like it was the first time the crew chucked the bait out, and as they were pulling it in, it launched out of there. I could not believe I actually saw that. You know, the air jaws you would have seen on documentaries and stuff, or the picture I've got up there. This shark launched out of the water. It was a great white shark. Unbelievable to see a shark that big out of the water. So totally amazing. It apparently happened a couple other times as well, but I missed the other two, because I was getting ready to go into the cage, so I was getting my wetsuit, and the other one I was getting out of the wetsuit as well. But yeah, it was a pretty cool time. So yeah, it takes 3.5 hours to get out to Neptune Island. It's a bit of a journey, but it's it's actually good to sit there and just see the scenery and stuff like that. I saw dolphins. There was even a seal out in the deep part, which was quite scary. But yeah, it was a really good time. I enjoyed it, and I'm super happy I actually got to do it. But yeah, so finally I've got my own great white shark footage. The last couple of days I've just non-stop just been watching it, and just going over it and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm hoping to do this again later this year. It's been I was reading, because I follow Calypso on their Facebook page, and they've been seeing sharks in September, and I think yesterday was the first time they had no sharks rock up. So that's something that I've always been worried about. You know, paying all that money and not seeing a shark. But you know, they do. How much did it cost? It was about $5.90 or something like that. They do give you $100 back and a $200 voucher that goes towards your next next cage dive. So have a look. Alright, guys, that's it. That's it for this video. Thank you for tuning in. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them down below, and I'll try and answer them. But if you live in Australia and you've got an opportunity to do this, especially if you're in South Australia, you've got to do this. This is absolutely an amazing experience to see these creatures up close. I'm really looking forward to doing this again. I'm kind of hoping later this year I can do it. The Rodney Fox thing expedition, the 4-day one, that is my ultimate dream to do. That's what I want to do, spend 4 days out here with these sharks. But I'm going to have to work that out, because obviously some of you know that I started a new job, and obviously I have to wait until I've got leave built up that I can take some time off to go out and do something like this. So, but I am going to definitely do the day shark dive, and then hopefully maybe end of this year or start of next year be able to do the 4-day expedition with Rodney Fox. That's something that I really want to do. Yeah, I'm just trying to watch this video here when you can actually first see the shark, because I didn't see the shark. So it must have been down. So I just kept my eyes on that. Oh, there it is, pops up then. So I didn't even see it then. And then, as you can see, the camera movement. So I don't know if he was lying to that. Apparently, a couple of times they actually shot up from the deep. There were the times when they literally breached fully out of the water. But there, so I didn't even know it was there. And then, oh, there it is. So obviously when they first threw it in, he picked it up and then he just cruised slowly back, and they throw it in again and he notices it. I don't know at what stage though. So this one's not Imax. Bang. Oh, kind of spewing that bar was in the way. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for tuning in. It was absolutely amazing experience. I'm so glad I've been able to share this footage with you guys. I've got a few other photos that are not mine I can share that are on the cruise, so I might show those a bit later on. But yeah, it was absolutely amazing. One of the best things I've ever done, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. So, alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.